In the still, dark water of a canal system south of Mexico City, a pale creature drifts just above the mud, its crown of feathery gills fanning gently in the current. It looks like a cartoon someone released into the wild. A wide, permanent smile, skin like soft pink porcelain. 6 ornate plumes waving from its head like a headdress. It seems too whimsical to be real, let alone to be one of the most scientifically important animals on Earth. Watch it long enough and you might see the impossible part. If this animal loses a leg, to a predator, to a fight, to an accident, it does not scar over and limp, it grows the leg back. Bone, muscle, nerve, blood vessel, skin, a complete, working, perfect limb rebuilt from nothing, sometimes within weeks. And a leg is the least of it. This creature can regenerate its spinal cord, sections of its heart, its jaw, parts of its eyes, even portions of its brain. It can take damage that would end any mammal's life or function and simply reconstruct what was lost again and again without so much as a scar. It's called the axolotl. It holds secrets that medicine would give almost anything to understand. It achieves them by refusing to do the one thing every salamander is supposed to do, and while the world fell in love with its face, it has quietly become one of the most endangered animals in the wild. This is Wild Codex. Let's meet the animal that never grows up. Start with the refusal, because everything strange about the axolotl flows from one extraordinary choice its biology made. The axolotl is a salamander, and salamanders have a standard life plan. They hatch in water as larvae, gilled, finned, fully aquatic, and then, like a frog leaving its tadpole days behind, they transform. Metamorphosis remodels them, gills absorbed, lungs taking over, body rebuilt for a life on land. The axolotl simply doesn't. It keeps its larval body, the feathery external gills, the swimming tail, the aquatic life, forever. It becomes an adult, reaches full size, reproduces, and does it all while remaining anatomically a child. Scientists call this neoteny, reaching adulthood without ever leaving the juvenile form. Why refuse to grow up? Because of home. The axolotl evolved in one place on Earth, the high lake system of the Valley of Mexico, most famously Lake Xochimilco. Cool, stable, food-rich waters where leaving the lake offered nothing but risk. When the water is this good, the shore is a bad deal. Evolution ran the numbers and canceled the metamorphosis. And here's the connection that makes this animal a scientific obsession. Staying forever young seems to be tied to its healing. Young tissue across the animal kingdom heals better than old tissue. The axolotl, in a sense, never lets its tissues finish growing up, and researchers believe this perpetual youthfulness is part of why its body retains an ability the rest of us lose, the ability to rebuild rather than merely repair. Now the regeneration itself, because the details are almost unreasonable. When you are injured, your body's priority is closure. Seal the wound, stop the bleeding, patch it with scar tissue, move on. Scar tissue is quick and tough, and it is also a dead end. It doesn't work like the original, and it never becomes the original. That's the mammal deal: survival first, function partially, restoration never. The axolotl runs a different program. When it loses a limb, cells at the wound site do something ours won't. They wind back the clock. Mature cells, muscle, skin, connective tissue, revert to a more flexible, embryo-like state and gather into a structure called a blastema, a bud of raw potential sitting where the limb used to be. Then, astonishingly, that bud reruns development, as if the animal were growing that limb for the first time, in exactly the right place, at exactly the right size. Not a copy, not a patch, the limb again. It can do this repeatedly with the same limb. It can regenerate a crushed spinal cord and swim away. Damage to its heart, its jaw, its eyes, portions of its brain rebuilt. And through all of it, one detail keeps scientists up at night: no scars. The axolotl heals without the fibrous deadened tissue that defines mammalian injury. Here's what makes this more than a curiosity: the axolotl isn't using alien biology. It has cell types like ours, genes with counterparts in ours, and, remarkably, one of the largest genomes ever sequenced in an animal, roughly 10 times the size of a human's, a vast instruction library that researchers are still mapping. The regeneration program isn't magic imported from elsewhere. It's a set of switches, and the reason labs across the world keep colonies of these smiling salamanders is the obvious, staggering question: if their tissue can be told to rebuild instead of scar, what exactly is telling ours not to? Nobody promises human limb regrowth, and this channel won't either. But scar-free healing, spinal repair, hard tissue restoration, these are among the biggest prizes in all of medicine, and this one small animal demonstrably holds working answers. The axolotl is not a curiosity in a tank, it's a solved problem, waiting to be read. And now the part of this story that hurts, because you know how our episodes about remarkable animals tend to turn. The animal that can survive almost any injury cannot survive what happened to its home. The axolotl's entire natural world was that one high lake system, and that lake system is where Mexico City now stands, one of the largest cities on Earth, built, quite literally, on top of the axolotl's habitat. The Great Lakes of the valley were drained over centuries. What remains of Xochimilco is a network of canals, and those canals have been hit by pollution, urban expansion, and introduced fish, tilapia and carp, that eat axolotl eggs and young and compete for everything else. The result is one of the steepest crashs ever documented in an amphibian. Surveys that once found thousands of axolotls per square kilometer have, in recent counts, struggled to find dozens, and the species is listed as critically endangered. There is a bitter irony in the numbers. Worldwide, axolotls are absurdly abundant in laboratories, in aquariums, in homes, bred by the hundreds of thousands. The animal is everywhere, except the one place it's actually from, where it is nearly gone. The hope, and there is real hope, is local and human. Conservationists and Xochimilco's traditional farmers have been building refuges within the canals, restoring the ancient Chinamper farming islands whose clean, filtered channels are ideal axolotl habitat, and reviving the water the species needs. Captive populations mean extinction is unlikely in the absolute sense. But a species that exists only in tanks has lost its story. Saving the axolotl means saving a place, and the people restoring that place are the ones holding the line. Here's where I'll leave you. The Aztecs knew this animal and named it for a god, Xochimilco, the deity of fire and lightning who, in the legend, transformed himself into a salamander to escape death. An animal named after a god who refused to die, which refuses to grow up, refuses to scar, refuses to accept the loss of a limb, a heart, a spine, and the one thing it cannot refuse is what we did to its lake. If this one stayed with you, the next episode is another animal running biology the rest of the kingdom gave up on, the underground empire that forgot how to age. That video's on your screen right now, and the full series is linked in the description below. Subscribe to Wild Codex for new wildlife deep dives every week. And tell me in the comments, if medicine could borrow just one axolotl ability, scar-free healing, spinal repair, or heart regeneration, which should come first? Argue your case. I read everyone. See you in the next one.